in Nakuru. You had invited me to your office, and we had a very good time having that discussion. We do this in church groups, we do it in chamas, group of friends, investments, and workplaces. So if anybody is interested and they feel that can be valuable to their staff or to themselves, we can get in touch with us on 0708 150 137. We also do this, personal coaching for individuals and for families. If you're making a decision and you're not sure about something, we actually can help out with that. But we also do formal training, and that's why we have the Wealth Creation Masterclass, and season 48 is on tonight. And like I've been told before, this is easy to learn, this is enlightening, it's life-changing, it's eye-opening, so that people can understand issues around personal finances, what the school system did not teach us, investments, debts, and all those things. So today we have an interesting discussion, and this is, we want to know how to better ourselves, so that as we make more money, we can actually be able to use it well. We actually call it sharpening the saw. You know, the whole process of sharpening the saw, how we go about it, because we need to make ourselves better. We need to look at our personal development. So if you want to get a chance today, and I say it's easy because it is on Zoom, it is in the evening between 7 and 9. So you can book a slot. I think we have a few slots. You can book a slot. All you do is you drop a message, or you make a call, or you do a WhatsApp to 0708 150 137. Somebody is on the other side. They'll be able to help you out. The person is Pauline, so if you call and get a different name, then you know you called the wrong number. It's good to call the right number.
Yeah.
And we're actually registering for season 49, which starts on Tuesday, the 24th of February. So if you've been yearning, wondering when can I join, that's when we are registering. So the registration is on now. For those who are in the financial services and your work is to sell financial services, maybe you are an insurance agent, for example, and you want to transition to become a financial advisor, we have a well-tested program that has trained a lot of people. We have some of the best people in this country. We've trained them. We have an ongoing class with Britam in their Westlands branch, and I want to say hello to that team because I know we are doing some good work. We have a class for you because we also don't forget that you do a big service in this country. So on 24th of February, we have a class that's coming for you. So if you're an insurance agent and you've decided to become a financial advisor, I know many times we carry the title financial advisor, but the client does not want the title. They want the value that you can bring on the table. So I think it's a good time to register. Let us know that you're interested. Again, just text us your name to 0708 150 137. A call, a WhatsApp, message would all be able to do. And I think that puts us in a place where now we're set and ready to discuss how we are going to fund the education of our children, because we must build the quality of the family tree.
Exactly. All right. And that is why we are talking about it very, very timely, because according to Infotrack did a statistics, carried out a research about the biggest challenges that CBE is facing. And top on the list, parents were complaining about finances, which is actually the biggest contributors as to why most children are at home even as we are speaking today. Okay, they have not transitioned to the grade 10. So what about the financing education for our children, Mr. Wahome?
So you can actually imagine the stress in the home, where the child is and they've not gone to school. The stress to this child, the stress to the parents, and that's exactly why we are going to look at this subject, because that's the real a tough situation. I mean, we appreciate the state of our nation. Education takes, I think, the highest proportion of our national budget, but we still have this many gaps that we have to fulfill. I mean, there are countries where education is free at all through levels. We do not think that's going to be in our lifetime. Even if government is going to pay the teachers and provide some of the facilities, the parents still have work to do. And you know, the late great statesman Nelson Mandela, a very, very well-regarded Nobel Peace Prize winner, he said education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Now, consider your home as the world, and education is the most powerful tool you're going to use to change the world. That's what I'm saying, building the quality of our family tree. And it's not a short journey, because it's a 20-year journey for every child. And last time we said we have 6 steps that we need to take when we think about this education. Very quickly, if I wrap up those steps, and I'll get back deep into them. We say the first thing is we need to be able to tell how much time do I have before they get to this stage or this stage or this stage. And it's easy to establish that because we know the age of the children, we know how long it takes from one point to the other, and we're going to have a discussion around that. The second step is trying to understand your child so that you can determine what's their dream, what's their aspiration, what career do they want to go into. And this means we have to be very close to our children. When you hear competency-based, that's exactly saying what are they competent in? What competencies do we want to build in our children? And this is the work of the parent, not the teacher. So the parents need to understand that. Step number 3 is finding out what education system can help my child to get to that place. If you're saying their dream is to become a pilot, so what school system will get them to become a pilot at one time? And so step number 4 is saying which school, which college, which university will get them there. So there's education system, but there's a school, college, or university. I mean, again, if I just use piloting, it is not all schools that teach piloting. So there are specific schools. And step number 5 is just establishing what does it cost. What does it cost at the different levels? So that then you prepare. You cannot prepare for what you don't know. So we need to be able to prepare. What does it cost? I mean, if I have a newborn, I have no idea, in my firstborn, I have no idea what kindergartens cost. Nor do I even have an idea what universities cost. So part of the steps is to try and get interested and think about it. Because if you think about it, then we are going to have possibilities. It is going to be very possible. And step number 6 is maybe working with an expert to start thinking, what is it likely to cost years to come? Because there's an effect of inflation. So it is not going to cost the same as it is costing now. And once you know how much it is going to cost, then you can start doing some work to bringing in the money together and saying, so which mechanism will help me to put this money together? It can look very daunting. And a lot of people actually wonder, where are these 20 years coming from? And if we have children in school and we've never thought about this, literally it's like we are journeying in financial fog. And you can actually imagine how tough things are if you're in fog. So if you want to have a better quality family tree, we must take courage to work through those 6 steps. And we want to very quickly wrap through them so that we can think about the money. Now, if you think about this question, how much do I have? Time do I have? It is easier to know that if you're following the competence-based education, CBE, now we will go to preschool at 4 years, not earlier. We have what's called chemis or nemis, the system that registers them. It will not accept you if you've not come to the given age. That means when you get a baby, then you know you got 4 years to prepare for the kindergarten level. Now, whether you go to a preparatory school, wherever you go, that's the duration. Then we'll only enter primary when we turn 6. So we have 2 years at that level. Then we come to primary school. Again, that system does not accept you if you have not hit that age. So you can actually see we can be able to do the preparation. And we're going to take some 6 years in primary. Basic primary, I think senior, upper primary. Then we are going to go to secondary, just around, which we are going to be there another 6 years. This is 3 years in JSS, junior secondary, and 3 years in senior. And so you can tell at what age are we going where. And when children turn 18, they go to tertiary education. Whether you go to TVET, whether you go to any middle-level college, whether you go to the university, that's the duration. So if you are thinking university, then you can tell if my child is 5 years, I have 13 years to prepare. So that's the duration to prepare. Now, that's the common flow for children, but does not apply maybe sometimes to special children. They may not fit in here. We have slow learners who don't fit in that system. Sometimes you have a genius. Even geniuses don't fit in that system. You might have to look at the system. And I think having done that, we will be able now to see how much time do I have to prepare for it. College will take 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, depending on what course we have taken. And so they are going to graduate when they're around 22, 23, they might take a post-graduate course, maybe a CPA or whatever. And so by the time they come to the world of work and they're settled, they're about 24. They hit school when they were 4. Now they're 24. That's where the 20 years is coming from. And so you can imagine if one is taking 20 years and you have 5 of them, that's like 100 years going concurrently. Just they're going concurrently. So because we have to prepare for each one of them. So it is important to know how much time do I have before I get to which stage so that we can prepare. And we've also talked about the finances that we have to be. And the best thing is for a parent, take a pencil and actually write the ages of your children. See how much time you have before the different stages. I have a 2-year-old. So I have 2 years before I go to kindergarten. I have 4 years before I go to primary. I have 10 years before I go to secondary. And I actually have 16 years before I go to the university. Now that helps you to prepare. You have an idea of the time. Okay. The second step we said, get to know your child. No, and children are interesting because they will tell you, what do you want to be? They'll tell you policeman, teacher, nurse. Whatever profession they often see in their environment, that's what they desire. If you ask a child who is on the farm, the only guy they tend to see who looks sophisticated is a vet. So they will tell you they want to be the vet. You know, if your child is around here, they will tell you something. But as they get older, these things keep changing time and again. Now, so it's a moving target, but we always tell parents, desist from pushing them to the profession you wanted to go. You know, you wanted to go and do medicine, become a doctor. For some reason, you did not even hit the grade. Now you're pushing all the children to go and become the grade. Or you actually became the doctor. And now you want everybody else to become a doctor like you or an engineer like you. No, they have a life to live. And if you don't do that, you're going to frustrate yourself. Because they can actually study that medicine if you push them. And eventually they bring back the certificate. And they tell you, now, that's yours, we have a life to pursue. So you can imagine what that means in terms of wasted time, wasted resources, and a lot of conflict. So let's expose them. I think the best thing we can do is to expose them. I think I mentioned last time, somebody's son kept on saying, I want to be a chef, I want to be a chef. And the father alleged for him to go and spend a whole day in a hotel. When it was eventually done, he said, no, I don't think that's what I was awarded, because they have exposure. I think the biggest thing is to expose them, let them know. As we are exposing them, let's look at their strengths. What are their liking? What are their aspirations? And we guide them as appropriate. And where we are not able to guide them ourselves, that's why they are career teachers, that's why they are mentors, that's why they are career counselors, and that's why we can even do psychometric testing, because it is important. And I have a caution here for the people in the CBE system. Now, the children are picking pathways quite early in life, so they need to be helped. You know, you can decide, I'll go to STEM, and you're weak in maths. It's going to frustrate you for many years to come. Or you might feel like, I don't like maths. But where you want to go, you will find maths waiting for you. So it is important that if I cannot do it myself, I need to get somebody else to do it for me. Because there are indicators that will tell you, this one is likely to become a technical person. They like doing things themselves. This is likely to become a lawyer. They are always, getting entangled in discussions and looking at issues. This is an entertainer. They're always telling a joke here or there. Now, this is a business person. They're very interested in business. So there's a difference in that. It's quite a bit of work. Nobody gets it 100%, but that's important for the parent that we do. Once we are able to do that, then we need to look at the education system, because we have many choices that can get us our children where they want to go. Again, depending on the resources that we have at hand. In the Kenyan system, we've done 844 for many years, I think from 1986 or thereabout. Now, we have the last two cohorts in school, Form 4 and Form 3, and we'll be done. So we go to CBE. Now, if you're a parent, please take time, understand that CBE structure. It was very interesting when the results were out this year, and parents were thoroughly confused. Mine got a double E. Wondering, what does it mean, double E? When you say it is double E, now somebody says, no, that's the best grade. That is, they are exceeding expectation. So it is important to inform ourselves so that we can actually see. By the way, university for most degrees will be 3 years, not 4. So we need to be well informed about it, well informed around the pathways and subject choices. So if that is your system, take your time. Take your trouble. Understand it very well. Attend school meetings, because schools are also doing very well. They are training parents to understand the system. So as you can see, what's your role and what's the role of the teacher? Because, yeah, a lot of times in this country, we leave work to teachers. Now, teachers are not parents. I think there's a distinction between the two. There are people who've chosen to go the British system. Don't just go British system because people are going British system. Also understand it. Understand what are the foundational levels, what are the key stages, at what age are they going to be where, which exams are they going to do, when is it mandatory, and all those things. Because that is very, very important for you to understand how it works. Some people are picking the American system. There are people who there are people who go outside. I've seen people who actually go to Uganda. They still believe the system is good there. So again, understand the system that you're going to work with. Once you understand the system you're looking for, then you know how to pick the school and how to pick the college. Do I want to go to a public school? Do I want to go to a private school? Do I go to an international school? Do I go out of the country? Because there are all those choices. Do we go to a formal school, the normal school, or do we do homeschooling? Because homeschooling is another alternative out there. Do we go to a day school or do we go to a boarding school? You see the way there are many choices out there. Do we do a single sex or do you do a mixed sex? What are the pros and cons of each of those? Now that is for the parent to be able to do that, because once they understand, and if you're looking, say, like college, then you're understanding what are the entry requirements. If you're saying we want to go for aviation, what are the entry requirements? Because I've had people say they want to go to Harvard and do medicine. I said, if you want to go to Harvard, that's a great thing, but they cannot admit you for medicine if you don't have another degree. They will not admit you for law if you don't have another degree. So that's very, very important. The third thing we said is the cost. We need to be very clear of the cost. And we have very many choices. You know, if you look at the preschool level, you can go to a public preschool, you know, the kindergartens that are run by county governments, or you can go to the private ones. Of course, sometimes the ones that are